All right. So hello, welcome to UXI-115. We are discussing UX process and theories. In this live session, we are going to cover week 1 and week 2 overview. Again, my name is Professor Devonna Payne, and I'm super excited to be your instructor for the next 8 weeks. So in today's agenda, we are going to do an introduction, a course recap, week 1 overview, week 2 overview, and I'm also going to provide you with some reminders. Now, in our live session, just to let you know that our live session is being recorded and it is going to be saved underneath the web meetings, so you can always go back and reference to the video. I would like for you to keep your video on, but if you have to turn your video off, I totally understand. But please make sure that your mics are muted. And also engage. I would love for you to connect with your classmates in the chat and also engage. I have some polls and some questions to ask. So you can also drop those answers in the chat as well. And also if you do have something significant, very important that you have to unmute yourself, you can definitely do that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So again, to introduce myself, my name is Devonna Payne. You can call me Professor D, Professor Payne, whichever. Some information about myself. I have a master's in digital marketing and also certified in Adobe and Google. I also have 10 years of experience as a graphic and website designer. I previously worked for Howard University, the College of the Holy Cross, Meharry Medical College, and currently the National Science Foundation. So I would like for you guys to introduce yourselves so we can get to know one another in this course. So I'll start off. My name is Devonna Payne. You can call me Professor D or Professor Payne. I am from Houston, Texas, but I currently reside in Atlanta, Georgia. My occupation is a senior designer, and I'm here to teach you UX process and theories. But I would love for you to introduce yourselves. Tell me your name or your nickname, where you're from, where you currently reside, your occupation or your dream job, and also tell us something that you want to learn by the end of this course. All right, so we're going to do an overview of the course syllabus. And user experience UX design centers on the interaction between human users and everyday products and services. In this course, you will learn key theories and processes to help create usable, useful, and delightful products that answer users' needs. So also in this course, you will work with software tools such as Adobe XD and Figma. By the conclusion of this course, you will practice generating a UX case study asset to add to your growing capstone portfolio. So to do an overview of week 1, which is focused on the user experience design process. Let's go over some objectives. And again, the topic for week 1 is focused on the user experience design process. I'm going to explain the importance of user experience design, define accessibility and usability, identify user experience design principles and goals, explain the advantages of involving users in development, apply user-centered design principles, and identify the 4 basic activities involved in interaction design. So what is user experience? All right, so here's our very first poll. And you can just drop your answer in the chat directly to me, but I would like for you to to answer the question, have you heard of UX or user experience? So drop in the chat a 1 for yes and a 2 for no. I'm interested to see your answers. Okay. Okay, so we have some who have heard of user experience and then some who have not, and that is completely fine because by the end of the 8 weeks, you'll learn everything about user experience and user research. So to give you a definition of user experience, it is the process design teams use to create products that provide meaningful experiences to users. So UX design, user experience. It refers to the entire interaction you have with the product, including how you feel about the interaction. And if you've heard of UX design, then you heard of UX designer. A UX designer focuses their work on the experience a user has with the product. Their goal is to make products that are usable, accessible, and enjoyable to use. So if you have apps such as Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, it all started with user experience. And also the UX designer has focused their goal on creating a product that the user enjoys and focuses on keeping them within the app. So accessibility, this is very important when we're talking about user experience. Accessibility is the concept of whether a product or service can be used by everyone, however they encounter it. And this involves 2 key issues: how users with disabilities access electronic information, and how web content designers and developers enable web pages to function on devices for individuals with disabilities. So say for instance, if there's a user who has a disability, maybe a hearing impairment, it is important to have tools that are available to that user so they too can access an application such as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and also have the same experience versus someone who may not have a disability. Usability is another term that you'll hear a lot. Usability is how easy a product is to use, how easily you can accomplish a given task with the product. It relates to the quality of a person's experience when interacting with, such as like your website, the efficiency with which that person can accomplish a task, and the satisfaction a person has with completing that task. Say, for instance, you are on someone's app or website, and you have some parts of the website where the link may not work, or the page keeps reloading. This is something where the user may not go back to that website or go use that app again. And usability is very big in regards to making sure that the user is satisfied, stays within the app, and that is something that we're going to cover in this course. And please ignore this, I do apologize. So there's some differences between usability and accessibility, but also there are some similarities. So usability, ease of use, efficiency, and user-centric design. And accessibility, you may hear this, W3C, which is basically a standard for accessibility for especially users with disabilities, assistive tech, as well as access to content. And something that makes them similar is they both enhance user experience for all users. And please let me know if I'm going too fast. I will have these slides available to you in the announcement section in Canvas. So you can go back and reference to that, as well as the video. This live session is being recorded, so you can go back and preview the video if you need to get all the information. So moving on to 7 UX design principles. Basically, UX design principles aim at simplicity and ease of use. So there are actually more than seven. Some say there are 20. Some say there are 14. But you, as the UX designer, can pick and choose which design principles are very important to you. I've listed just a few, but there are more that you're going to read in your textbook. And I'm going to break this down a little later on at the end of this session, so you'll learn a little bit more about that as well. The advantages of users in development can reduce and even eliminate the clash between users and system developers in the system function views. By cooperating with users, system developers find data and information direct from the users. So say, for instance, a user is, you want to have users within the app prior to launching your app so that you are getting some feedback from the users. And we'll also learn about this, but it's usability testing. And this allows you as the developer to learn a little bit more about each user, because of course, all users are different. Everyone has different things that they can bring to the table, and as regards to your feedback and how to make your application or your website better. So when you're creating your app or your website, it is important for you to understand that you should focus on being user-centric. And so we're going to talk about user-centered design principles. Users are involved in the design process from the very beginning, and requirements align with the user's needs. So when you're creating an app, you should definitely think of the different users that might use your app. Say, for instance, you're creating a dog app where you would like someone to book a dog service for someone to walk your dog. There are different users, various in age, ethnicity, that you want to consider, even disabilities that you also want to consider. And it's important to center your design around the user-centric. The users themselves can provide you with feedback, and that feedback is looped into the product lifecycle, and it helps with the user-focused decisions. Also, focuses on improving user experience and gains more understanding about your target audience. Because again, when you're creating a product, you're also focused on who your target audience is, as well as the different segments of your target audience. So 4 basic activities of interaction design. 1, identifying needs and establishing requirements for user experience, developing alternative designs that meet those requirements, building interactive versions of the design, and evaluating what is being built through the process and the user experience it offers. So I know we went through a lot of information. Now, this information is also within your textbook. So for your week 1 assignments, you'll have to read your textbook, chapters 1 through 2 of your interaction design. Also, you have to complete some Learn-Its. For this week, it's just 1 Learn-It, and it's focused on the UX design process. And when you read the chapters 1 through 2, you can apply the information that you learned, and you're able to complete your Learn-It, the UX design process. Now, with the Learn-It, it is very important for you to start early. So I always say start early to finish early, because you cannot complete a Learn-It within just 1 sitting. Learn-Its take at least 2 to 3 days to complete, because the way that the system is, it creates a stop after learning so much. So it's very important to start your learning early so that you can complete your learning and receive all your points before the deadline, which is Sunday by 11:59 p.m. Also, for week 1, you'll have Yellow Dick discussions. And in your Yellow Dick discussion, it's broken down for this week to post 2 discussions. The first one is in one sentence, how would you define user experience design? And you can just take some of the information you learned in chapters 1 through 2 and just apply it. And also, when you apply it, make sure to engage with your classmates. The goal for your Yellow Dig discussions is to earn up to 1,000 points. So if you do not know how to earn your points, I would say go back and watch the very first video, which is the live session AM. That is now located under web meetings. It is posted, you can go back. And if you did not attend the very first live session, it is important for you to go back in, watch the video. And I asked 3 questions that I would like for you to respond in Canvas and just give your answers. And I will give you credit for not attending the very first live session. I, for one, understand that life is going on. So I know that sometimes you may not be able to attend both sessions, and that is okay. As long as you send over those answers to me and you watch the replay of those videos, then I'll definitely give you credit. Also, another part of your Yellow Dig discussion is to think of something you use on a regular basis that has a good user experience. It could be a product, a service, store, website, or app. What makes the user experience satisfying? So this is something that you should think of. Maybe it might be an app that you use all the time, a website that you are often visiting, maybe a product that you are always using within your home. And think of the experience that you have when engaging with that product, service, store, website, or app. So these are some of your assignments that you are going to have to complete in week 1. And so now we're going to move on over to week 2. So in week 2, the main topic is user research methods. Now, the reason why I'm giving you a week 2 overview is because next week we do not meet. So I want to be able to give you information for both weeks. And you'll see this in our very next live session. The AM session will be focused on week 3, and the PM session will be focused on week 4 because we will not meet in week 4. And I just want you to have just enough information to help you complete the task and your assignments. And also you're able to preview those videos and reference back to that if you have any questions. So we're going to move on for your week 2 overview. So here's a second poll. Have you heard of user research methods? In the chat, go ahead and drop in your answers, 1 for yes or 2 for no. All right, so let's see. Okay, so we have some no's, and that is okay, because by the end of this class, you'll learn everything about research methods and how you can apply it when creating your own apps or your own website. Say, for instance, if you are a freelancer for design, you can apply these same research methods in order to create your product or website for your target audience. Or even, say, for instance, you're a business owner. This is something that you can apply to your business as well. So let's dive into the definition of research, user research. is used to understand the user's needs, behaviors, experiences, and motivations through various qualitative and quantitative methods to inform the process of solving for users' problems. I know that's a mouthful, so let's go ahead and we're going to break this down. So some objectives for week 2. We're going to recognize different user research methods, identify which methods to use for different UX needs, define and identify qualitative research methods for UX design, and conduct qualitative research, user research, and compile your results. So why is user research important? User research helps uncover important and useful insights about the user and their needs. Until you know your user and their needs, emotions, feelings, struggles, you won't be able to deliver a great user experience. Meaning it all starts with the user. So again, user research should be based around user-centric, focus on the user. So here's a quick video discussing different user research methods. So please let me know if you cannot hear the video and or if you're having any issues previewing this video.
We all know there's an abundance of user experience research methods. Some user research methods are great at producing data and insights, while others support ongoing activities to get things done. There's something useful to learn in every single stage, but it's important to combine the right activity at the right place and time, depending on things like budget, needs, context. Let's take a look at the best methods and their corresponding key activities for 4 common stages of product development processes: discover, explore, test, listen. Let's jump into discover. The discovery stage is when you try to surface what you don't know, alongside uncovering what your users may really need. It's especially important to do discovery activities before making a new product or adding a new feature, so you can find out whether it makes sense to invest all those resources in doing the project altogether. Your goal at this stage is to validate and discard assumptions, and then bring those data and insights back to your team. There are 5 top research methods to utilize during discovery: field studies, diary studies, user interviews, stakeholder interviews, and any kind of requirement or constraint gathering. Alongside those 5 research methods, you should be finding your allies on your team, talking with experts, involving your stakeholders, determining what future success metrics look like. And then we have the explore stage after discovery, where your goal is to understand the problem space and how you're best going to satisfy your users' needs. Before jumping into this stage, I want to mention that you can use a lot of different research methods, especially here. It's important not to try to do all of them, but to start somewhere and learn more as you go. So what research methods are we using during exploration? We should be doing things like competitive analysis, persona building, journey mapping, design reviews, task analysis, potentially even card sorting to understand how your users group content. Alongside this research, be trying to understand inconsistencies, considering diverse contexts, and outlining long-term implications of potential new designs. And then we get to testing. We are using validation methods at this stage. We want to make sure systems we design work well for the people who will be using them. During this phase, you should be doing things like qualitative usability testing, benchmark testing, and accessibility evaluation. Test early and often with a diverse range of people, alone and in groups. Use ongoing strategic activities which can help you get ahead of future problems, especially during the testing phase. Do things like track usability over time, test with a diverse set of users, and be transparent with how that testing is going, delivering both good and bad news to your stakeholders and other team members. Now, towards the end of the process, our last stage in listen, you'll be utilizing testing methods like surveys, analytics reviews, search log analysis, usability bug reviews, and frequently asked question reviews. Listen throughout the research to help understand new problems that have arisen and direct future efforts. Remember, this is all just a guideline. It's not necessary and would cost a lot of time and resources to do everything on every project. Instead, use a mix of methods and learn as you go to keep your efforts on the right track.
All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. Qualitative research, collecting and analyzing non-numerical data. So qualitative research, you've also probably heard of quantitative research, but qualitative research is different because it focuses on participant observation. There are also, you can do usability testing. There are two different types of usability testing, unmoderated and moderated, and also in-depth interviews and also focus groups. So these are qualitative research methodologies. So quantitative research methodologies are, they collect and analyze measurable user data. And by measurable, we say anything with a number. So eye tracking study, product and analytics, A/B testing. If you've heard of A/B testing, maybe as a website designer, this is something that you would consider quantitative research. Quantitative usability testing or benchmarking, card sorting, tree testing, and also survey and questionnaires. So I have another video and it's going to break down the differences between qualitative and quantitative UX research.
When I'm presenting our Measuring UX and ROI seminar, I sometimes get questions about the differences between quantitative and qualitative research. In UX, we often use qualitative research to gather insights or observations about users and products or services. Popular qualitative UX research methodologies include interviews, qualitative usability testing, and field studies. With qualitative research, our goal is often to discover problems or opportunities in the user experience, to investigate why something is happening, or to find ways to fix a problem. For example, maybe I conduct a round of interviews to understand why a feature isn't as popular as I expect it to be. Maybe through the course of my interviews, I learned that our users don't understand the point of this feature or how they're supposed to use it. I could use that information with my design team to help us decide whether this feature should be phased out or how we should redesign it. Because our goal is to identify problems and find ways to fix them, it's okay to test with a small number of users. Our rule of thumb for qualitative research is 5 to 8 users per user group. To explain why, we can think about a pothole in the street. If you watch 5 cars drive down the street and each one keeps hitting this pothole, you know it's a problem. You don't need to watch 45 more people drive into that pothole before you decide that it should be fixed. When we're conducting quantitative UX research, instead of gathering insights, we're gathering numbers that describe some aspect of the user experience. We refer to those numbers as UX metrics. Popular quantitative UX methodologies include analytics, A/B testing, surveys, and quantitative usability testing. You might want to use a quantitative methodology if you're trying to determine the priority or scale of a problem. What proportion of my users are impacted by this particular problem, for example? You might also use a quantitative study, particularly A/B testing, if you want to compare alternative design options and use data to inform your decision. Finally, quantitative research is also great for benchmarking the UX of a product or a service. Essentially, that means tracking your user experience over time to make sure that you're improving in the ways that you expect. You can also use that data to calculate return on investment. Often with quantitative studies, our goal is to compare things. Maybe we're comparing our current version of our product against our older version, or our product to our competitor's product. Or maybe we're comparing 2 different alternative designs for a specific layout. A major benefit of quantitative research is that it gives us the ability to determine whether the difference between 2 numbers is statistically significant. In other words, to know that that difference is not likely due to random chance. That's part of the reason that we need larger sample sizes for quantitative studies. If we don't collect the right amount of data, we may not have a reliable result. There are different recommended minimum sample sizes for each quantitative methodology, so it's important to check that minimum whenever you are beginning to plan a quantitative study. Qualitative and quantitative research give us different kinds of information about the user experience. The best strategy is to use a variety of methods in your UX practice.
All right. You guys have any questions? No questions?
No questions.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I have no questions.
Oh, no questions? Okay. So if you do have any questions, you can definitely send me a message in Canvas. Also in my email, you can send a email to me, or you can message me through the text, whichever you prefer. I will respond back to you guys and help you out with any ideas, concepts, or just any concerns you may have in regards to this course. I'm here to assist you and help you excel in this course.